because the last time I was on the show, we were talking about where did you learn the rules and where did you not learn the rules, and I was saying that I'd always learned the rules from the rule book. So I brought you a little present tonight, Jenny.
Oh no.
It's the rules of ladies football just for you, 2019, the latest edition.
Play-by-play on Sports Joe and Her, brought to you by AIG, in support of 20 by 20.
Massive weekend of sports is on the cards. We're in Fort Dane Lane, Play-by-play live, second live event. I'm Jenny Murphy. We're going to be talking a big focus on the Ladies All-Ireland final. Little mix in of rugby there as well. It's also Herbal Essence Perfect Curls is on sale, so it's an exciting week all around for me. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome first up Irish Rugby Sevens player Jordan Conroy. We have Dublin football legend and rugby player, Lindsay Peat will be coming on as well, so we'll give her, Sorry, it has a big list of accomplishments of Lindsay, so it's like basketball, football. She'll tell you herself, she loves that. Yeah, perfect. And we've also got award-winning journalist, sports broadcaster, football player in her own right as well, Marie Crowe. Welcome on the show. Right, we'll get right down to business. So you're first up in the hot seat. Yeah. Rugby player, but that wasn't always the case. You kind of took a little bit of while to get there.
Yeah, since a young age, I started with athletics first as a track star, and did that for about 4 years. And then the reason I changed was it's just too much of a lonely sport because I was training and winning by myself, so I couldn't really celebrate with
winning
anyone.
By myself.
Yeah, I know, sorry, but
okay.
Yeah. So then I just decided to make the change to soccer. So I played in that Lone Town, and then I was playing in Division 1 Electricity League, and then I think I got a little bit bored of that, and then I think...
Too much success, or just...
No,
he played for Athlone, he just said that.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up himself. I just was going to college, so I was going up to Dublin, and then I didn't have any real sport to keep me fit, but as I came home on the weekends, I started playing tag rugby, and through tag rugby, the captain of the first team just kind of said to me, yeah, you're really fast, I want you training for the first, I better see you on Tuesday. And he was a pretty intimidating man, and I was a young kid, 18, so I was like, yeah, grand, and kind of rest is history from there.
So you've had a pretty good year. You started off... Well, he's clocked up as well. If you don't know how fast Jordan is, he's clocked up 36 kilometres an hour, which is...
It's 37 this year. I don't mean to be blunt. I don't mean to boast, but
class of athletics, really good soccer, and I'm actually 1 kilometre faster. Thanks. Well, Lindsay, me and you can dream about hitting that pace.
Yeah, 3.7.
Yeah, your mates can go that quickly, but nice. So, Ireland Sevens, right? They've had the men's team have had a really successful year last year, still in with the shout of Olympic qualification. What needs to happen?
I think we're going to use the World Series this year as kind of racking up experience. We'll probably focus on that when the time comes next year in June. So we're just focusing on the World Series, trying to play there, try and win a few tournaments there. But then when the time comes, it'll be a really big focus because it's our last chance. And I mean, we really want to be there in Tokyo 2020, kind of representing our country and being able to say you're an Olympian. So it'll be a very big focus. It'll be nerve-wracking time, but I think it'll be a big chance where we can get through, because I think it'll be just between us and France, and we've played France a couple of times. So it'll just be neck and neck between us two, and hopefully we'll get the win and be there next year.
Because you're in pre-season moment that's disgusting in its own right.
Yeah, a lot of dark places have been hit, and I still haven't left that place.
You walked slightly like a stiff John Wayne coming in a little bit earlier.
And I'm only 25 as well, so I'm just kind of it's been tough since we've kind of gone professional and being on the World Series. It's been a massive step up. They've put in a lot of work on getting us kind of to that level where the other teams are, such as Fiji, South Africa, and New Zealand, because they've been playing at that level for years, and it's just kind of our first year being in tournament after tournament from back to back, so we kind of need to prepare our bodies for that kind of load and volume of work. So we're just kind of hitting the ground running. But yeah, it's not fun. I'm telling you, like pre-season ain't fun at all.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt. Is there anything in the sport you did previously on par with what you've done now since coming into rugby on a train like an S&C and pre-season?
No, this has been the most professional setup I've been in, and it really kind of hit me this year. It's like, right, we're proper professionals, like day in, day out. Like we've got the new facility, and we're literally just like so focused right now. And like with the other sports like athletics or soccer, there's a fun aspect in it, but like there is still fun in that rugby, but like we're just kind of all like focus driven, and we've set ourselves goals like which I've never really done because I'm lazy, but like it's fine. But it's been an eye opener, and I'm enjoying it as well because
I know he gave me like what's in his secret stash at home. So when he has his cheat meal, it's an abundance.
You know I'm front row. Don't you dare.
Okay, I apologise. Yeah, there's like purple snacks hidden all over your body for emergencies.
Like I like my snacks. You do too. Yeah.
I do, but I'm not allowed to have them.
Fair
They
enough.
make us run in pre-season with the snack ahead of us. That's sort of like a Father Jack
Fair
moment.
enough. Yeah, that's not nice.
You know Lindsay a little bit from even before her rugby days. Do you want to share one of Lindsay's first interviews?
We're going to go there, Jenny.
We're going there already. You cut me off, so I'm going to just like sell you up the river.
In 2009, I was working for the Sunday Independent, and it was one of my first women's sport interviews was Lindsay. And Lindsay, at the time, was playing football for Dublin, and they had the All-Ireland final, which they didn't win that year, but they did the next year. I actually looked up the interview again yesterday just for the laugh of it, and the intro was like a latecomer to Gaelic football. Lindsay Peat is making her mark, and now we fast forward like 11 or 10 years, and you've done so much in between, but it was both of ours we were both getting started out. So like when I look back at what I even wrote then we did another one in 2017 to that, it was completely different. But Lindsay rocked up on her bike, and we were in Anderson's, and we were having coffees, and we probably had a bit of food as well, and we were just chatting away, and like we were both kind of so innocent at the time. Lindsay was like, yeah, I used to be really fat. Like, just comes out with it. And I was sitting there going, okay. She's like, yeah, there's this time I was living with my friend, and she was pregnant, and I used to go to Iceland all the time, and I used to eat like carbs like 24/7. Do you want to see a picture? And then she whips out the picture, and
I was so fat.
She was a little bit a different shape now, but it was funny because even when I was writing it, then I went back to the office, and I thought, I can't really write that, like it's like I don't want to hang her out to dry and have this story about it. And when
Iceland hero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I ended up writing like Lindsay learned a lot about nutrition in the last year, but it was just funny reading it back because we did an interview then in 2017, and it was completely different. It was like I think when we did that one back in 2009, you were just getting to know yourself a little bit, and like you were quite guarded, and it was all about sport, and it was all about like your goals to win an All-Ireland and what you'd done in basketball. And then the one in 2017 was all about life and the person that you are, and Barra and your wife, and it was just so nice to compare and contrast and see how much you'd grown. And also I always make the point about Lindsay as well. Like we talk about 20 by 20, and we're here for play by play, and like that day in 2009, that was the only interview in the paper for the women's All-Ireland football final. On Sunday, there'll be like a separate section, and there'll be loads of interviews, and there'll be analysis, and there'll be team news, and there'll be graphics, and there'll be different features, and it's brilliant. But it's because of people like Lindsay that we have come so far, because she has given so much of herself in interviews, and she's been a role model, and she's just been great and open, and she's really helped grow coverage of women's sports, because she was never just, well, that first interview was probably like it was all about sport.
We were feeling our way in the
we're
dark
both
around
kind of learning
how
how we do our jobs and all the rest. But since then, though, she's done such a great job of just kind of shining the spotlight on so many important areas in life and in sport as well. And you've just made a difference to so many people, and it's so important, everything that you've done off the field as well. And it's nice to have that opportunity to make that point to Lindsay here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lindsay, do you think you're a role model?
Huh?
Do you think you're a role model?
It's hard to admit that, but like if you, as we've probably said, like if just that one person looks up to you, then you have that responsibility to tell your story and motivate them and tell them that there's, like I always say, sport is for everyone. We've said this, like it's lovely to come full circle after having meet Marie, and it was such a lovely day outside in Anderson's, and for me to be interviewed and in the paper was just like, you were like, oh my God, it's unreal. And now we're fighting that fight to, not that it's a fight, but just like we have something to offer here in a sporting level. But what sport has done for me on just a whole life level has been like really personality changing for me. And just to echo that to anybody, that it's whether it's to make friends or find your niche or just to get out of a bad place, whatever, sport is for everybody. And so if that message just hits one person, then yeah, I have to probably hold up my hand and say I'm some sort of a role model, but that's possibly very hard to see myself as, because I'm just Lindsay from Artane who loves, like if it was a group of 5-year-olds honestly playing down the back, I'd be like, can I play? Like it just...
Yeah, you're also likely to hand off the 5-year-olds if no one, like, so as a role
Listen, I'm
model.
not going to lie to you. I teach my son, he kept goading me last week, oh, I won, Mama, I won. And then I goes, okay, one more race, so, and I took off. And he was like, wait for me. And I was like, no, you will perish on that rock, but like,
That is great to hear. Fantastic. Well, okay, we'll get back to like easier questions. Into pros, like obviously I know how it's going, but they'd probably like to hear from you a little bit more.
Yeah, we've had a good start so far. We've 3 from 3, but you're only as good as your last game. I thought our best performance against Munster, most complete. We'd obviously had a lot of rotations, which is great, and again shows where we've come in the sport, that we're not picking from the same pool. Like we've had a squad to play for, and people have been on rotation. And that's nice actually, because it's nice to be put back in your box and know that nothing's for granted. So tomorrow we play Ulster, and it'll be, we're going there to win and send a message and put on a show. And again, that's been hard to come to terms, that you want to go out there and put yourself on a pedestal, but there's no point in training for all these things. There's no point in wanting to be more skillful or faster or stronger if you're not going to display that. And whether you're an artist or any, realm of work that you do, that's the way I see it. So really looking forward to tomorrow. If anybody's about and wants to come down to St. Mary's in Temple Oak, please do. There's 2 matches. It's free in. And we'd hope to put on some good display of rugby and really show what we've been working towards.
Keep it building for there. Is there any temptation, Jordan, for you to maybe go back into the 15 side of things?
I won't knock it, but for me, I just have to concentrate on the one thing for now, and that thing is sevens. If it was to be an opportunity in the future, I wouldn't say no. I'd love to, because I started playing 15s. Yeah, if I was to get a call up to the 15s and I would have to I would be able to do it, I'd definitely do it. Yeah, definitely would.
Do you think there'll be the same amount of Broncos in 15s?
No, hopefully it'll be a lot less running. So. Do you want
to explain the Broncos to the crowd? It's pretty gross as well.
Yeah. Make them do one, mate.
No, then they'll know the bit. So basically a Bronco is like, it's 20 back, 40 back, and 60 back, and you have to replicate that 5 times. And a good time is getting it under 5 minutes, but with the sevens, since we've always on our feet running, they expect us to get it under 4:30. But I got 4:45, and I'm not happy with myself.
Grant.
But that was just coming off of 4 or 5 weeks of holidays, and chocolate,
they're all
and
excuses.
sleeping 13 hours.
All I'm hearing is excuses.
With Greg O'Shea now playing sevens, everybody must be talking to you about him and asking about it and wanting to watch it. And where can we see the sevens now?
Yeah, it is. I don't know, unless you're willing to travel there, that's the only way you can get to see us play, because we don't play now, we play in 10 other different countries on 5 continents, so that's pretty amazing as well. But yeah, Greg's we bring Greg back to normality a little bit. He was kind of back, because there's a few things he did that I just had to rip into him about. I won't
that's
say
what good friends do.
Yeah, I know. That's how we know we're good friends. But yeah,
did you know he was going in?
No, we didn't. Like, it was the biggest shock, and the beauty of it was like us sevens lads watching it together and just cheering him on. And then I got to see him in London when he came back, and it's just all madness.
I heard you voted for Tommy.
Huh? No, thank God we weren't allowed to vote. No,
okay.
I would have voted for my boy Greg anyway, but yeah, it's
nice.
good.
Maria, so there's a little bit of we talked about your little link with Lindsay, but there's also a slight link with Jordan. You played for a little bit with St. Pat's, is that right?
No, at Lone Town.
At Lone Town.
Town.
Okay, never mind. There's no link whatsoever.
Whoever wrote that made a mistake.
Crap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. That was
fault.
actually my bad research, so I'm gonna actually take the
I
hit
never
for that.
corrected it, though.
Great, thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that. Do you know St. Pat's?
Yes. Yeah, I played for them as well.
Oh, you played? I remember that.
There you go.
Yeah. So when I moved to Dublin, I always played soccer when I was younger at home, and then when I moved to Dublin, I joined St. Pat's, and I've been playing with them now since 2008. So we just play in Inchicore, and it's
Where
great.
do you play?
We play in CIE, you know, the
I'm opposition.
Oh, I play on the right wing.
Right wing. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Ronaldo
So
out there.
my brother is actually a runner, so so we have, my dad used to be a runner as well, so he was national champion 8 times.
Nice.
Yeah, he was, so I used to be fast, not so much anymore now, I just hang out there.
Well, now
but
you're just smarter, you know how to use the space.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly,
you
that
just,
is
like,
it,
a different angle.
experience.
Yeah, take them out before they start.
And was there a temptation, because I know some of your friends had gone abroad, done the scholarship thing, and then went over to the UK and had a bit of success?
So I played with Yvonne Tracy, so Yvonne was on my team growing up, and we'd an amazing team. So the way we'd work it is that, like, Yvonne's from Limerick, so there was a couple of girls from Limerick playing with us, and Marie Curtin, she played for Ireland as well from Galway, and we just, like, we were kind of like...
Yvonne started college together.
Did she? Yeah.
Left me to
she
go
went
to Arsenal.
yeah. So,
what a difficult decision that must have been.
And she's still there. She's still there. But yeah, I played a lot of those girls. A few of them went away all right. But I'd love to have went. But I think back then there probably wasn't the pathway. There wasn't the opportunities. It was really unknown. Whereas now, like, it's amazing. I think anyone that's starting out playing soccer at a decent enough level, like you're seeing the girls over in the Women's Super League in Arsenal and West Ham and Man City. Like, we've got an Irish girl who's vice captain in Liverpool, Nifai. It's amazing. We've, a girl that won the MVP in the American League. We've girls in Australia.
The World Cup was
and the
really
World
good
Cup,
as well,
so, yeah,
I was watching it and I was just kind of comparing it to the men's, like, women are so much of, when they get, like, tackled, they just get straight back up and get on with it. And I was like, yes, thank you. Like, some guys act like they've been shot and need to go to the hospital. Like, it's just soft. That's what I call soccer now, is soft. But I was really delighted to see that. Like, just
it
get
was
on
great,
with
and they
it.
got great viewers. But, like, definitely, I think the future is so bright now for anyone that wants to get into professional sport or wants to go down a path. There's so many role models out there at a professional level that, and the opportunity there are there as well. So I think, like, because of that, we'll probably have a way stronger women's senior team as well. We'll probably end up qualifying for a major championship soon as well.
They did well last week.
Yeah, against Montenegro, and we're in the middle of our qualifiers now, and we've so many girls out of the squad of 20 that we're playing against Montenegro in the first game. 15 of them now are playing away from home as well, which is brilliant.
And do you see that as, like, so a lot of the time we talk about, home-based players, like, and when you've got quality over here, it impacts on the league. So you've got these experienced players, and then when you see them leave, that sometimes can have a negative effect on the women's national league. Like, what do you think there needs to be better pathways in place in this country, or at the moment the structures are abroad? Keep sending them.
Yeah, I think at the moment it's like we only have to look at the men's league before we even look at the women's league. Yeah. Unfortunately, our leagues in both men's and women's aren't at a level. Jack Byrne aside, who came on the last day against Bulgaria, we're not really at the level where we're developing players so that they can go on and play at international level. They're not training full time. Like, the minute you go over and play overseas, we've Amber Barrett, who's in Germany now playing with FC Cologne, and she's going to do brilliant because she's training all the time. You need to be training all the time to go out and play at international level. Like, obviously the leagues are there. They're, if you want to stay at home, you can do that, but you probably are at a disadvantage. Rihanna Jarrett from Wexford Youths is probably the exception at the moment. Like, she is doing really well, but I think it'll be difficult to kind of sustain that level as your peers are over in the UK or wherever training full time. Like, they're going to progress further than you are, and you're always going to be kind of chasing. But I don't even know where to start with the women's league, because it's just not getting the development. Probably not enough support, coaching, resources. But
there's probably nothing in the schools.
No.
Like we've seen this. Like, it's not like that men's sport has just evolved because they're men. No offense. Like, the foundations and groundwork have been there for centuries now. We've had the same argument with rugby and players going abroad now to the Tyrrell's Premiership. And yes, it's taken our best players out of the league, but to me, you can't expect people who are at a higher level to not want to raise their standards, and that's the unfortunate bit. So the onus is back on then, the unions, whether it's FAI or the RFU, and it's going to take time, it's going to take patience, it's not going to work overnight, but it is about getting people into the schools, getting our rugby tots out there, being accessible, and that you're there in people's sight to go down. And it starts with volunteers. Like the GAA, the same thing. Look how our sport, hurling, GAA, camogie, ladies football this weekend has evolved. It's been big sponsors coming in like Lidl, backing it. The money's been used very well. Like the ladies football last year, the speed of it, the strength of it. Mick Bowen said to me, "What, you see the difference, Lindsay?" I said, "I tell you what, we can use both feet." Sinead Ahern is not only an assassin now on her right foot, she can dummy score on her left. We're now starting to develop the complete footballer or the complete rugby player, and it just has to continue. Do you know, it just does. We have to be patient. There's me ear gone.
I interviewed Siobhan McGrath for Sunday. She's playing for
awesome.
Dublin, and she started in 2003 when she was 15 years old, and she's still playing now. She played in the 2004 final, and she actually made that point as well. She said, like, there's almost a responsibility on us because we want to be footballers. We don't want to be seen as ladies footballers. We want to be seen as footballers. So we need to improve our game, improve our skills, be fitter, be faster, be stronger.
100%.
We're working on that all the time.
We have that discussion. There's a couple of the lads here, obviously, we play with as well. And it's, if you want the associations and sponsors to come on a professional level, we will be under scrutiny. We're now a product. We want that, and that's why I'm asking everyone in this room to come out tomorrow and support. Because if we can expose ourselves to the level that we've trained for, then again, it's enjoyable. If someone says to me, I've tried women's soccer, I've tried women's rugby, it's really not for me, it doesn't entertain me, but you haven't come and seen a game, shame on you. Because if you have sampled the product and said, and I don't want to become corporate that it's a product, but if you've sampled it and said, nah, it's really not for me, I have given it a chance, then fair enough, I'll let you walk away. But if you haven't given it the opportunity, and it's like any sport, I don't want to be associated that it's men's and it's women. Like Mick Bowen, he's been fantastic for Dublin football. He took Dublin ladies senior footballers off the bus because he said, I want them to be seen as senior footballers. And that's exactly like, and when myself and my caddy over here walked away in 2014, we probably were in turmoil whether we were going to continue on to help to develop the younger players or whether it was time for them to just find their feet. And look at them now, it's their 6th All-Ireland in a row. The lads are probably on an average age of just mid-20s. They've come back after losing 3 in a row, and we could be celebrating, winning 3 in a row. And that's just, it's time, it's patience, it's effort, it's the right people in the right places, and good things come of that.
And I think, Lindsay, as well, with the start of the World Cup, so many people were saying, I'm not going to watch that. Like, I've no interest in women's soccer. I'm not going to watch that. A few of the group games weren't great, as they often are in World Cup, in men's or women's World Cups. And then by the end of it, everybody was into it. Like, you're standing at the water cooler and working. People are like, did you see the match last night? They just, once people give it a chance, I think that they're pleasantly surprised.
There's no need to, like, you can compare the men's game, but there is such differences when you watch camogie and hurling. There's differences and there's different skills involved, and you can still appreciate it's played differently, but that doesn't still make it any less entertaining. Or the athletes, it's like you're going to be watching. You're going to be treated to 2 All-Ireland finals at the weekend, and I have no doubt that they're going to be extremely entertaining. But how they're played, the tactics that are played, and the skills that are on show, they're going to be different. It's just going to matter of who wins.
Yeah, and you're looking at elite athletes at the top of their game as well, like just in different codes.
Guys, we're nearly at the end of this segment. We've got a little game that we're going to be playing first, right? So we've got
games.
you're not competitive at all.
Oh no!
So we're gonna jump into an audio clip. Jordan, you're up first. So the aim of the game is you're gonna have to tell me who you played against, what was the final score, and what year it was. Okay? If you can get, we're going for 3. Ready to go?
5 metres out from their own try line. McNulty jumps high down to Roach, quickly into midfield. Excellent work here by Ireland. And they're not phased at all, are they? Hugo Keenan, that was Roach again, looking for Conroy. Roach with a breakthrough, up to halfway. He's got Conroy on his shoulder. Conroy over the 22, giving chases Carlin Isles, but he won't stop Jordan Conroy. Fantastic score for Ireland.
All right, okay.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you're just listening in and you're not on visual, there was a nod of like, oh, I got this. So I'm already like, oh, he's probably like, this is his lullaby that puts him to sleep every night. He's already, you seem pretty sure of yourself. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so it's a quarterfinal last year, London 2018. It's when I scored a try. I think that we scored 2 more after that. So I'm like, Do I have to say
who it against?
Oh, USA. Sorry.
Right.
USA.
You got it. You got USA. You got the year, and you got and the final score.
The final was a 22-7.
22-12. 2 out of 3. That's pretty good. That's still pretty good.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
That's He didn't clock up 37. He clocked up 36 kilometers there, but he's gotten faster. He'll let you know. He'll remind you. Okay, you're up next. Ready to go?
Epic fail.
Okay.
Kira Griffin with on the ball. Feeds to Maz Riley. A little show and go as she got support. And that's Sophie Spence using her power just a couple of metres from the line now. Ada Sheegan, or Lindsay Peat actually. That's Lindsay Peat for the line and she made it. Referee's arm is in the air. That's a try to Ireland.
Oh, who against her?
For a second there, I thought your man confused you and Sophie Spence, and I was like, what?
I know. Well, some of my tans were bad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I score so many tries, so it's
No,
really
I
difficult
don't.
to...
Should make it easier.
Oh, well, I'm going to take a wild guess this because I think it was against Scotland, was it?
No. Okay, so that's nil.
Well, it was then my first try then ever, which was against Italy.
Okay, yeah. So, but you still get no points. It was against Italy.
Epic fail, I think.
Final score in the year, please.
The year was 2016 Six Nations.
2016, yeah. That was
Yeah, and what was the score?
Yeah, final score.
For jeez, I can't even remember yesterday. We won. I'm going to say...
Good enough, 14-3, Jordan still wins.
Oh, I was going to say 15-3.
Yeah, nice. Oh, okay, predictions for the weekend. We'll go with the replay first. Dublin Kerry, who's going to get it?
Come on, you're a smart
Dublin.
man.
Dublin?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Linz?
Has to be Dublin.
Dublin, okay, that's three dubs in a row. Okay, what about the ladies All-Ireland final?
Dublin as well.
Dublin?
Yeah, I'll just go Dublin.
Has to be Dublin.
Oh, nice. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. A big round of applause for these guests. Yeah. We are back. Welcome to stage 2, Play-by-Play Live. With me on the panel this time, it's going to be primarily a Gaelic focus with a little sprinkling of rugby mixed in as well for like the multi-talented guests. So 2-time Dublin All-Star and coach with the Dublin Hurlers, Cliodhna O'Connor, taking the stage. Last time I interviewed this man, I gave him the nice warm intro of 0 All-Ireland finals. That is not the case anymore. Welcome to the show, David Gough. Nice. And then we have former Kerry footballer and Irish Rugby Sevens player, Louise Galvin. Guys, thanks for coming on the show. Get into see how many cards I have. That means they're all blank, but it makes me feel like...
Makes you look
I'm
good anyway,
yeah,
that's
it's like,
what we
oh,
do.
she knows her business. It's going to be like Spanish Inquisition style.
They're not blank, Jenny. You doodled on them.
Yeah, but none of them are too rude, so it's fine. Yeah, anyway, we won't show the crowd. Busy couple of weeks, David. You've had a pretty... 2 weeks ago wasn't too bad a weekend, was it? All-Ireland final, something that was been a goal for a while.
Yeah, it's been a goal for a long time since I started on the championship panel in 2013. Always wanted to referee in All-Ireland. It's been a long time coming. And it was a fantastic experience, the whole day, the atmosphere, the build-up before for the weekend, being out in the hotel with the other officials, going in on match day, tasting the experience as you're driving down through Drumcondra in the back of Jones's Road. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's just a magnificent occasion. Getting in there early and watching a bit of the minor match, the butterflies starting in the stomach, and just waiting for Everything is scripted. 3 minutes past 3 was my time to get onto the field, and everything else just played out lovely after that.
And do you get, like similar to, I know we're saying Love Island, did you get the text to confirm like you're going to be in the middle of the park the weekend? How did you find out that you got the job?
The national referees manager in Croke Park, who's Donald Smith, he's just started, he's from Meath. He rang me Tuesday before the All-Ireland final to tell me that I was getting the appointment. So it was a huge relief. I was actually at home in Slane in my grandmother's house at the time. All the rest of my family was on holidays, so it was just the two of us crying in the living room. Yeah.
He was from Meath, David.
Donald?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Fix.
Nice. Oh, the controversy is starting already. Love it. Did you enjoy the day? Like, 'cause it's such a build-up, and sometimes, well, I know I can probably be guilty myself, as you're very much looking at it from a player's perspective, and you have like the butterflies, the feeling. You never really pay attention or think about the whistle and who's kind of that flow of the game. Was it enjoyable, packed stadium, or do you not really think about it during?
No, you wouldn't think about it during the game. Like everything that's going on around you, the noise in the stadium, anything else that's happening, it's just irrelevant to you on the day. You have 70 to 80 minutes of focus. But it was a thoroughly enjoyable game for me, because for the first time in a long time, I had felt that I had done enough high-profile games in Croke Park over the past number of years that this just really was another game. And as soon as I threw the ball up, it was just a game of football, and that's the way I treated it.
And how did you look back on your performance now at the All-Irelands? Like, did you do the reviews?
Yeah, I did my own analysis. So Croke Park have a new system this year where they have a camera sitting up on the top of the Hogan stand, which is focused solely on the referee. So they gave me back the match, just focused on me, with my microphone from the day opened up as if you want to call it the commentary, and just listening to how I interacted with the players, how they interacted with me, how the linesmen spoke to me, and the umpires. And it's a fascinating insight into actually what happens on the field, what actually happens, rather than listen back to an analyst or a co-commentator. So that's my type of analysis. And we get an advisor's report then from a former referee who's sitting in the stand, and he breaks it down into key game decisions, technical fouls, aggressive fouls, my communication abilities, bits and pieces. So that's how we analyse our own performances. We're also wearing GPSs and heart rate monitors now for the last number of years as well.
You talked like 11 kilometres you clocked
Close
up?
to 11 kilometres, yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, I got mic'd up a while ago, and it was, you're talking in rugby loads, so you're going, come left, I'm on your right, all that kind of stuff. And then after 23 minutes, it was just me wheezing. And it was like, I was like, all right, good vocals there, Jen. Being like, oh, you can hear at this stage one of her lungs mildly collapsing. So I'm like, still have a bit to go on the fitness journey, but yeah, all good. Do you tend to ignore that whole build-up at the start of All-Ireland final, or how do you even combat that?
Yeah, like Croke Park had me well advised. I took all social media off the phone. I even took Google Chrome off it, so I couldn't go onto the internet to look at things. The Twitter went, the Facebook, any sort of social media. The only thing that stayed was WhatsApp. So if my friends text me, I could stay in communication with them. And for the most part, they didn't send me anything that they saw in the media. They knew, and if they did, it was just deleted and they weren't responded to. So they just got the message fairly quick. All right, hands off, leave them alone. So that's how I handled it. We also had I called him a sports psychologist yesterday. He's more of a sports counsellor, who I went to the week before, just to help me deal with the mental side of the game, to make sure that I was concentrated. And there's a lot goes on around All-Ireland finals. You're standing there, you're meeting the president, there's the pomp, the ceremony, the parade before the game, and nobody's actually wondering, well, what's the referee doing right now, and how is he staying focused? There's no team huddle for me, there's no manager banging down the door or motivating me, and it's a lot of intrinsic self-motivation, and people don't see that side of the game sometimes.
Well, you can definitely take it for granted, that whole adrenaline surge that you get, and you definitely are like, oh, it's a robot in the middle of the pitch, and he or she doesn't feel all the kind of the bubble or the atmosphere as well.
We generally don't, I have to be honest. We're so emotionally uninvolved in the game. Like, the outcome of the game is absolutely irrelevant to me. I'm just watching for fouls. I see numbers, colours. I'm watching for contact, technical fouls, and my mind is so busy thinking about the rules of the game. Like, I never get to really experience the atmosphere.
And what about, like, for players' perspective, you've been a few All-Irelands, you know the build-up yourself. Is it all social media gets ditched, or are you kind of, having like Google and checking like tactics, or?
Oh, for me, I don't know about you, Louise, like, I'm brutal on social media, absolutely brutal, so I didn't really ever engage in that type of thing. you know, definitely Lindsay would be mad for tweeting and Facebooking and Instagram and all that stuff. So
But
we
it's
used to have awful
it's
rows
mostly
about
selfies that Lindsay kind of dabbled in, to be fair.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of rows about that.
Certain filters as well.
But no, around okay, our sport and performances, I just think personally that stuff is a distraction. But that other people, for me, it would be a distraction. Other people are more used to it, so for them it's not that big a deal. It just wouldn't be my style. So it was never really an issue for me. I guess it's not an issue for me now as a coach either.
And would you see like some of the Dublin footballers now coming into it? Obviously, the game, even in the last 5 years, there's, like we spoke with Marie earlier, it's instead of that one single interview, it's now a full spread, and we get to know the players an awful lot. Do you think there's a little bit more pressure to be active, I guess, on social media now?
I suppose there's a fine line, because there is, in women's sport, we've been asking for more coverage for a number of years now, and now we're starting to get it. So you either go one of two ways with that. You either play the game that we see on the men's side of things, where you get it's a game of two halves, and the rubbish answers that nobody actually cares about and don't make any sense. Or can you find a balance between embracing it a little bit more, being a little bit more open, being a little bit more authentic and human, and that's a little bit more interesting for people. But if you're going to put players in that position, I think you've got to protect them a little bit and give them the tools to deal with it. Because female players now, I think they're finding themselves being asked to do all sorts of things, and they're just saying yes because they feel like they have to. But then they get there and they're not comfortable. They don't really know how to deal with it, and that's a challenge, I think, and for all codes, rugby, soccer, everything, you know. So we have to help our players a little bit more on that platform.
Yeah, like I think that we do take, like it's great getting to know players, and you get to find out like their personality a little bit, and that can help with sponsorship. That can help with actually, you know, knowing the team and having a relationship. But then it can, like, I know when one of my first or second interviews that I did, I hadn't a clue the worst answers that I've ever, like the stupidest questions that I've ever been asked, and it's permanently up there all the time. Like it was, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? I panicked in my head. I was like, oh, sheep, because that's funny. And then it was like, no, that's going to come back and bite me in the ass. So I picked wolf because sheep and wolf. And then I was asked to explain my answer, and it's there for everyone to, like, the actual abuse that I got from. Why am I bringing that up?
You deserved abuse for that.
Yeah, no, I completely did. Yeah. But like, I probably should have stuck with sheep. Sure. Well, you're pretty decent on social media. You're like on the ball. It's like.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Jen.
Yeah, don't get used to it. I've got a whole stash of other stuff here,
like, I suppose, like you said, it's kind of twofold now. There's definitely opportunity. We're looking for more media. We're looking for more exposure for women's sports. And like Lindsay was saying earlier, Marie, if there's more exposure, there's more people, there's more footfall at games, we also have to be ready for the critical analysis part of that. And we have to be ready to embrace that, which it is phenomenal. It's not just this is the scoreline and this is who scored the most, and that's what it used to be.
And she
for
thinks
years.
she's a wolf or something like that.
Or a sheep in wolf's clothing. I don't know. I got it. But
and the interview is over. There's a technical difficulty, and great.
I know, but there is definitely a platform there where, like, in one side of it, I think there's an element of tokenism where, obviously not panels like this, but in other panels where you might get asked to do something, like I might get asked to do something, and it's because they need to have a female there. And initially I used to be so mad, so angry at this, like, I'm not turning up just because I'm going to be the woman there. But then kind of flipping the perspective, well, that's actually an opportunity, because years ago, regardless of what your credentials were, what your knowledge was, you weren't given that opportunity because you were a woman. So now it's a chance to take an opportunity like that and actually prove that we're well capable, we're well researched, we're well knowledgeable and well able to perform on any stage or platform. So I think social media, it's kind of the way the world is going. We have to be protected, there has to be support systems there. And I think with the LGFA, with the RFU, they're certainly more careful now in training up players so that they're never just shoved out into the limelight. But that is definitely an avenue where we can promote ourselves and kind of show that athletes are female athletes. Well, I even hate saying that. I hate saying female athletes. Like, I get asked before, what do you prefer, ladies footballers or women's rugby players? And I said footballers and rugby players. Like down the line, when we start losing this kind of gender tag, that's when we really start winning a battle or winning.
Well, you even find that, like, when you jump into certain situations, you're like, oh, they're genuinely surprised that you have a deep understanding of the game. You're like, well, I've been playing this game for years, so yes, I would. Like, case in point, the article that you wrote about yesterday in the Irish Times was really good, but you spoke about, again, the merits of the women's game, and, like, I've spoken on this show before, myself and Macros have talked about being like, love an L shoulder, you know, a little bit of physicality, no harm in that. And you were very much like, no to the shoulder. The game has its own merits. Why no shoulder, Pina? Why no shoulder?
Well, I think it's a better game without it.
Yeah.
But it came down to people say, oh, we want equality, we want this, that, and the other, and that's great. But equality doesn't mean it has to be the same thing. And you have to be very clear about, if you're asking for change, why are you asking for change? And are you asking it because of some perception that you think women's sports needs to be, well, we can be tough and we can be strong, or are you asking it to improve the game? I personally don't believe the shoulder would improve ladies football. I think it would slow it down, and I think it would focus on less athletic skills. So why in God's name would you include it, in my opinion? And it's not a statement that the players are incapable of dealing with contact. It's a statement of what we want to prioritise in our game, which is very different. And I think when you're developing anything and whenever anything is going through a period of growth, you need people to be very clear and precise and articulated about what the vision is and what's important. And that's the key thing. What is important? What are we chasing here?
Speaking about that debate about the shoulder and no shoulder, because the last time I was on the show, we were talking about where did you learn the rules and where did you not learn the rules, and I was saying that I'd always learned the rules from the rule book. So I brought you a little present tonight, Jenny.
Oh no.
It's the rules of ladies football, just for you. 2019, the latest edition. It does exist. There is a rule book.
I'll get you to sign it later on as well. Appreciate that. Thanks. I got you this mug earlier on, and so
Cheers.
I just like
Here's
it.
Joe.
Yeah, he's good at sports
But
apparently.
how
so.
many inter-county players, male or female, do you think have actually ever seen
Anyone
a
I've
raid
asked?
or manager?
Never read.
I'd say two
Yeah.
at the most, you know.
And yet they'll go out and berate you from height
Absolutely,
for
yeah.
what
Even
they
though
perceive to be.
In both codes.
By the way, this isn't that Joe's mug. This is a completely different Joe. It's not the same Joe. I give
Joe
you a
the
brand.
mug.
Yeah.
No, both codes actually we have our rules test twice a year, and we have to get higher than 94% in our rules test, or we're not allowed referee at inter-county level. So you're going out there with that expert knowledge of the rules, and then you get the players who just have never read them and probably have learnt them from, as I said the last time, from school teachers, from mentors, from coaches, from parents, just on their perceptions of the rules. There's a huge disconnect between the two.
Like, would you find as well, like, kind of jumping back into that equality thing, when it comes to rugby, like it's seen there's different ages, so the scrum rules are slightly different when you get to younger age, and that kind of gradually progresses, so you can properly shove, and there can be a certain amount of meters that can push. We know nothing really about scrum, but I'm just quoting from the rule book here. But then, did someone clap about me not knowing scrums? Thanks very much. Sound, appreciate that, yeah. But then there are some, I think, like, to echo a little bit of your point, I do think that the women's game would be, it's great that you can compare like for like sometimes. So when Niamh Briggs takes a kick on the sideline and it's a size 5 ball and it's a nerve-wracking win against the #1 team in the world, there's no, the ball is smaller, like that's actually easy to do. That's great in itself, but then I personally would love to play with a size 4 ball. It's like our hands aren't as big as guys. It'll offload, it'll increase the pace of the game, and they're so, like, would you have a feeling on that, or would you like to kind of stick with it? I know that's like a curveball and they're just throwing at you, but
I think it's very relative to which rule or which, like, I don't think there needs to be standardisation across the board, because we're not trying to emulate or be just like the men. It's not like, well, the men have red crayons, so we want red crayons. Like, it's about what's...
Do they? Red crayons?
Yeah.
Red?
Yeah. And we've only yellow.
Yeah, really?
Oh, yeah.
We've only blue.
But we've 2 yellow and they've 1 red, but we have to get that 1 red off them. Yeah.
Okay.
This interview is taking a wild turn.
No, but I think it's about keeping the same ethos and kind of heritage of the sports, but maybe tweaking what can we maybe take from either side that can improve our sport, but what we don't need to take everything. So something that I think could improve the men's game is take away toe into the ball, because it's not, you're going down for a ball, like if there's a cornerback up your backside, how do you know who's pushing who? Is the corner forward trying to win a free? And is that really an enjoyable skill? Who has ever said, God, he was great going down on that ball, isn't he? You know, like
but everyone loves a bit of a skirmish every now and then.
And they've just schmozzle starting all over the place. But no, but honestly though, it's not a skill that anyone actually enjoys or looks at and says that was fantastic, that was really good. It's not something females can't do, because I grew up playing with the boys, so I learned to actually put my toe into the ball first, and it was kind of strange when I started playing with the girls only, and they were like, you just pick it up off the ground. But it actually makes the game much quicker. So if you watch one thing between the final on Saturday and the final on Sunday, watch someone going down, even someone as lightning quick as Jack McCaffrey, and he has clear pick up the ball and he's going to go ahead. He still has to slow down a fraction more to pick up that ball than, for example, Carla Rowe will on the Sunday. So if we want to even speed up the game a bit more, I think that's a trial that could be used. So that's men maybe emulating a rule from the women's game. I see what Jen says about the shoulder. I'm someone who's probably a little bit more physical. People tend to put on a gum shield when I'm playing on their team. But I think maybe one element with that where it's coming from is that there's so much more strength and conditioning now in teams. Everyone, regardless if they're slight or that, they're getting stronger, so they're able to take more contact. And I think no one likes I think it's more of an issue in camogie where it's there's they're giving out about a lot of frees, a lot of stop start, and actually we're doing all this gym work. We're conditioned to be able to take a little bit more contact. Can the game not evolve with us? I'm not saying bring in a shoulder, but maybe there's an element of everyone is so fit, so strong now that maybe there is more space or room for a little bit more contact. And just when 5 foot ones and they get soft frees, like they should be able to take a shoulder.
Well, because we have some of the camogie crew in today as well, so they were trying to explain some of the rules to me as well, and it's just it seems so vague. I think, well, obviously here it's probably nailed down, it's quite specific, so I probably won't read it, to be fair. But like, it's a nice prop to have. But yeah, it's sound. You can take that mug back with you as well. But yeah, it's just, I think sometimes that when it's, again, like when you actually do your bit of research, but when the rules are quite specific, it just makes it easier to play, and all you want is to play, and to play the best of your ability, and like with that you hope for a flow. Speaking of that, we didn't talk at all about the All-Ireland final that's actually happening on Sunday, so we should probably do that, or I'm going to get given out to by the producer, and even though she's quite small, she can be intimidating. So yeah, she can give a shoulder, 100%. Firstly, what do you think we're actually going to expect come Sunday?
Firstly, I hope we get a good game. I don't see why we wouldn't. Watching the two semi-finals, I think the semi-final for Dublin against Cork was a massive game for a number of reasons. So they've won the last two All-Irelands. The first one, after losing 3 in a row, then they go and beat Mayo. Good bit of history between Dublin and Mayo, so that's a big psychological boost for them. Then they go next year and they get to play Cork in the final, which is brilliant. And after all the numerous bloody defeats we had to Cork, it was fantastic for them to get over the line there. So 2019 rolls around, they lose to Cork twice in the league, and the round robin, then the semi-final, I think it was. Then they're meeting them in the semi-final. So I suppose they had to back it up. Was it a flash in the pan the previous year, or were they now better than Cork? So I criticised them a little bit for the first half. I thought they were a little bit too hesitant, a little bit too cautious in their play. Second half they opened up, and all of a sudden they're building a gap between themselves and Cork. I think they'll get massive confidence from that, and it will bring them on a little bit, and it will set them up nicely for this weekend. I hope they just go at the game and just play their fast, aggressive, kind of forward play. I think that will be really good. From Galway, I've said during the week that I believe they're a little bit tactically naive. I think they're fabulous footballers. They've got some outstanding individual players. The two Ward sisters, Dunn in the middle of the field, Marie Crowe, outrageous goal poachers, fabulous footballers, kick passers, all of that. They play a running game. If they play that way against Dublin, I think Dublin will have the ability to stop their momentum further at the pitch. I think the Dublin forwards will have to work really, really hard. They can't just be focused on the their job in terms of getting scores on the board. They'll have to stop the Galway defence. I think Dublin will be prepared enough to do that and to limit Galway's momentum. And I would question, just from an inexperience point of view, will Galway have a plan B if that doesn't work? Because it's a beautiful way to play the game, but if you're a one-trick pony, you run into a little bit of a problem there, I think.
And we know that Mick Bowen is quite an astute tactician, so like if that is, you kind of need more weapons in your arsenal, I guess, to beat a team that's, we can now say, is starting to, I guess, dominate a little bit. I know we've only gone for like 2 in a row, but they've been playing some absolutely fantastic football. Do you think that having that, that favourite tag, or the team that's in it to win it, will that work for Galway? Or do you think that's like, it's nice to be maybe the underdog in this situation, there's no pressure?
I think for Galway, definitely better off being the underdog coming into it, but I certainly like fantastic footballers, just like you said, and at underage level they've been phenomenal. They've won under 16 minor All-Irelands, and they've beaten Dublin and Cork along the way for a lot of those finals. Girls like Olivia Ward and the Leonards, they're just really good individual footballers. What I'd worry for them is that like for those girls, the semi-final, which was fantastic that semi-finals were on in Croke Park this year, it was the first time, I think, for pretty much all of them that they played in Croke Park. I don't think anyone was there in 2004, 2005. Like I met Sinead Burke, who's probably their longest serving footballer before it, and she was saying it'll be her first time ever playing in Croke Park. Now, it's very difficult not to let the emotion of that, when you're a Gaelic footballer all your life and all you want to do is play there, to not let that become a bit of an issue. Whereas even for the likes of Mayo, they had a few league games there, they've obviously played All-Irelands there, and Dublin have played there plenty of times as well. So the first thing is that they can play the game and not the occasion, then they're giving themselves their best chance. But I think just, like, I know, I'm kind of probably from speaking from experience, in 2012 we went up to play Cork and they beat us well in the final, but I remember just the build up about playing in Croke Park was just massive, and it was still one of my greatest and worst days ever playing sport, because I love the fact that I got to play there, but we're beaten at the gate and it was taken off. Yeah, so I just hope that doesn't happen to them. This Dublin team as well, because they went through all those defeats, because they went through narrow defeats, big victories, losing them, they're quite a mature bunch, even though they're quite young. And what I really like about them is they're not just one or two stalwarts, like we've seen, like Noel Healy was Footballer of the Year in 2017. Didn't start the semi-final, start in the final. They've so much depth, even though they've had their injury woes. But I really like their style of play. I think they work hard. I know what you're saying about their forwards having to work hard to kind of quell that attacking defensive line from Galway. But I think they will, because they have the fitness and they have the right attitude. Girls like Carla Rowe, Lindsay Davy, like, they have such a phenomenal work rate, and they always give the ball to the player in the best position. They don't care who scores, whose name's on lights at the end of the day. It's about the team winning, and it's obviously Mick Bowen has instilled that in them, and I think that's why they could be a real powerful force for the coming years, but I hope not.
Nice.
But I think
Sit that in immediately.
All right, we know where we stand. We know where we stand.
Okay, cool. Like, proud Kerry woman, got it. David, do you find yourself, like, you basically, you're not watching the game, you're watching how it's going on, but do you get occasional glimpses when you're right in the middle of the park of, you get to see up close the skill and athleticism? You get the best seat sometimes. Do you ever get like that was a nice burst of speed, or can you appreciate during the game sometimes?
Probably not very rarely, but I do remember last weekend, just under the Hogan stand, when Brian Howard caught the ball from a kick out from Stephen Cluxton, and just instantly I could see it was on my right shoulder, Jack coming, and just the pace that he took off at Jack McCaffrey from the half-back line, and within 10 seconds the ball was in the back of the net. They had worked their way up the field. So, it's an incredible pace. And I was just saying to Jordan earlier, we need to set up a 100-metre sprint between the two of you, just to see who's quicker.
Well, Sorry, David, 37 kilometres, do you know that?
Did you see him sprint off at half-time as well?
I did see him sprint off at half-time, yeah. That was fairly quick as well.
Did you see that,
dying
Jen?
for the bathroom, yeah, I know what happens. Yeah. So obviously we can't talk about it, but are you gonna watch the replay yourself?
I'll go to the game, myself and my mate. tickets to go and watch, and I'm going to sit back and relax and enjoy the performance. Unfortunately, when I go to matches, I end up watching the referee and watching the guys doing what they do.
Yeah.
It's just what we do, like
do
nerds.
Do you kind of like, you're like, oh, it's terrible use of the whistle. I definitely would have given 2 short blasts as opposed
Oh God,
to
no,
just
no,
like,
we're not that bad.
Yeah, okay,
we're not that bad. Yeah.
Oh, he needs to pull up his shorts. He's not showing off his quads enough. 100%.
Oh, referees with quads. Don't know about that one. Yeah.
Do you know the score?
No.
At all times or
No,
ever?
No, and I have often walked off the pitch either with, and I don't mind saying this, the wrong score in my scorebook, but the umpires have it right. Because I've gone to book someone after a score and haven't put down the score. But I just wouldn't know who's won.
Yeah,
like, it's
you're
irrelevant.
So focused
It's
that
irrelevant. You know, I see the ball going over the bar, the flag is raised, it goes into the book, and that's it. Like, I don't look at it to see, you know, oh, well, that's 216 and that's 17 points. It's irrelevant. It's just a process that you have to go through, you know, and you're moving straight back out the field because someone like Stephen Cluxon already has the ball down on the 13-metre line and probably has it delivered, and you're trying to backpedal, put your notebook in your book and watch for fouls out the field.
Or your rule book.
Or your rule book,
yeah.
The men's one's a bit bigger than that.
Okay,
one,
is it the same shade or?
No, it's yellow this year.
Okay.
There's one printed every year. I'll be
Okay.
bringing you one every year from now on.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you, like, sure, we had a few players like that not knowing the score. We've both played with her. I'd say you could probably hazard a guess the player that was
Ali
like
Miller?
Ali Miller. Ali Miller, right, is when I'm playing at 13, Ali's on the wing. Something will happen and she'll turn, and it won't even be, Jen, what's the scores? Are we winning? I've experienced that on occasion. So it's like,
or on the sevens pitch, which they don't like any stoppages, and there's a line out, and maybe Ali's made a tackle on that touch line, and I'd be centre, and sevens, she'd be the wing, and with Ali, they're throwing the ball in like, go, tell him hang on a minute, tell him stop, and it's like, it's sevens, Ali, they don't stop, get into position now.
The wing, one of the most terrifying positions on a rugby pitch, and then with sevens, it's just like there's so much more space. It's absolutely disgusting. So we probably have like a little bit of, Jordan, I'm giving you a dig there. That's like, yeah, it's like nice. I wouldn't want to be but like, yeah. We're gonna have some predictions for the weekend. Well, actually, firstly, players to look out for. Who are you like? Has a stellar performance all year. This is someone to look at for the final.
Siobhan McGrath got player of the game in the semi-final, so Dublin midfield, it'd be good to see what she does against Galway. Look out for Jennifer Dunn from Coola. She came on in the semi-final and she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal and she's just breaking into the panel, and she made a really good contribution. You've got the usuals then, you've got the Sinead Hearns and that. From Galway, I think Marie Crowe and the 2 Ward sisters, they're exceptional footballers, really, really good, and they can cause damage if they're let.
And what about attendance? Do you think we're gonna hit new heights on Sunday? We're gonna break some records?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that the replay's on Saturday and the ladies' finals on Sunday, whether it's a positive or negative. I think probably in the build-ups might have taken it some of the column inches earlier in the week, but I actually think it can be a really positive thing for the weekend, because the fact that the game is even 6 o'clock, I think you're going to get more people even staying overnight and saying, yeah, let's go to the ladies' final as well. I was just chatting to Lindsay outside about, you know, from our basketball days, like cup weekends and the way Basketball Ireland is run is that like the women's final is on just before the men's final of the corresponding age groups, so under 19s, 20s, whatever. And maybe, you know, if this weekend did go well, it's something down the line to think, you know, you play the minor ladies and minor men's All-Ireland together, and then you play, I know the different associations, and I'm really dreaming big now, but that the ladies All-Ireland is on just before the men's All-Ireland. And that it just becomes a whole weekend, or it's on the day before, but it's just a big weekend, a feast of football. So
I think the ladies are going to be able to fill it out in a few years themselves. I don't think you'll be putting one on before the other.
Yeah.
And they're making huge strides. I mean, they did over 50,000 last year, and that's going to continue going strong. I really think they deserve a day on their own, I have to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And then we've got as well, it's great the opportunity to, you know, play semi-final football as well. It's not just, because sometimes, like you said, it can build into something bigger than the actual game. It's the event, and I've never played in Croke Park, and it can kind of be overwhelming, but like, oh, we've had the semi-final here, or this is part of the women's game. Now it's like, and it's going that way. We're 30,000 now for semi-finals. We're hoping to hit over 50,000 on Sunday. I think it's definitely sky's the limit.
I think this year, whatever the attendance is on Sunday, the biggest step forward was the double header in the semi-finals in Croke Park. That was the biggest step forward, regardless if we get 45 or if we get 65 on Sunday. it's bringing more attention earlier in the championship, and it's just setting a different tone. And it's not, our championship can't just be about one day. While it's a great day and it's wonderful and everyone enjoys it and it's a great spectacle, our championship and our sport is more than one day, and we've got to move in that direction.
And it's a bit like building. They will come, like I've heard people say, oh, by putting on the semi-finals now, they'll reduce the attendance for the final, but
I love how you went into a full-blown Kerry accent when you were just
Is that what they say down in Kerry? They don't
and she kind of like rubbed her hands together when her right. My impressions are coming up.
Yeah, and I haven't dropped too many years at all either.
Here we go.
I'm going full Peter Keane mode now, and you'll get nothing out of me. But now I've lost my train of thought.
I am so sorry. Well, I have to get your predictions first. I know, but David has to be completely neutral, so you're just...
I'm going for the draw.
You're going for the draw. Nice.
So you'll have a day out again.
I might get another day out.
Yeah. What about yourself?
For the ladies.
Well, give us both.
I think it's very difficult to see beyond Dublin in the ladies, and I'm 100% going for Kerry. You know, we've rattled them. They're mere mortals.
Stop. I know, like Kerry, you think football was bred down there or was created under the mountains down in Kerry. It wasn't. You're not that good. No, Dublin 2 times this weekend.
Dublin. So we're going to see a rollover. Nice. I think that's come to the end of our show. Massive thanks. Well, before we're going to have to go, we're going to do a little competition. Then we're going to do Words of the Week. Dave, you love that. You're brilliant at that. Yeah, he loves Words of the Week. I have to actually just get the actual words here. It's in like one of these 17 billion copies of whatever. Yeah. So competition up for grabs is 3 Dublin jerseys. Do you want one? Hold on to your horses there, Louise. Yeah. One is the limited edition 20 by 20 jersey, coupled with the jersey. So you're going to get a jersey, and not just that. Hold on to your seats. You're also going to get 2 tickets to the Women's All-Ireland final as well. Oh yes, what applause. So I'm just going to chuck it out to the group. Rugby players over there aren't allowed to ask it. So question: who is the captain of the Irish women's rugby team?
She's from Kerry.
Oh my. Kira Griffin, Dublin jersey, and so your jersey and your tickets are over here. Colin, do you want to strut over there and pass it out? Oh, okay. We can give them all. We can give them all at the end. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Can I have the score of the women's senior camogie final between Galway and Kilkenny? Okay. How many goals were scored in the game? Boom.
3.
Who shouted 3 there? No pass. You're not getting it. No pass. You're not getting it. 3 over there. Perfect. Boom. Yeah.
Is her mic still on?
Okay, final one. This is the big one. This is the 20 by 20 jersey. Who is playing in the women's junior All-Ireland final at the weekend? Ladies. Hands up, come on. Over there at the back. Boom! Jersey and tickets for yourself. Nice. Actually, okay, now to end Words of the Week. Rules of the... Oh, that was an aggressive flutter. Sorry, that was my fault. I was actually to add to the atmosphere of it. So I'm going to give you a quote. It's going to be from a female athlete, and you're going to guess who the female athlete is. You get no jerseys, it's just pride, okay? You're not playing, right? Lindsay, calm down.
She is so competitive.
Yeah, relax with your golfing
card.
pants. Calm down. It's between these 3 over here. Okay, no one can hear you because you don't have a mic, thank God. Okay, hopefully as the profile of the game keeps building, you'll get more and more at the semi-finals. We love playing on the best surface in the country, so we love playing in
Do we
Croke
just
Park.
shout it out?
Yeah.
Tracy Leonard.
No.
Lee McAvoy.
Boom! Oh, I really wanted to give some hints, being like she's got a massive ego, but like fair enough. Yeah, That is pretty much it. Thank you very much. Firstly, thanks to all the panel, all 6 of you. You were great. Makes my job so easy. To everyone that has rocked up and clapped exceptionally well, thank you very much. So we are going to be back on the air the 23rd of September. Niamh McAvoy is going to be back. Hopefully she's going to be very, very hungover and in a jolly good mood. So yeah, we're going to welcome her back. I'm Jenny Murphy. This is Play by Play. Thanks so much for coming.